Next on your Customer Success, a mid-year review. The best of Does It Hold Water and Chip Shots. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your Customer Success. This is your host, Gary Mara, and we have a very special mid-year review for you. It is summer. It is hot. It is July, and we need a break from all the wonderful guests and all the editing we do here. I love to bring you these special kind of year in review videos. I put two out at the end of last year, and they were spectacular. They were very well received. So I thought I'd do that again for you now. And so what we have here for you is the best of Does It Hold Water and the best of Chip Shots so far year to date in 2026. Now, my guests have been wonderful. It's been a great year. We've grown the show. We've given you great advice and feedback, and the guests have been so appreciative of their time here, and we've had so much fun. And so I think one of the strengths of this show is these segments. Does It Hold Water is the segment where I give my guests a quote, a piece of thought leadership. They have no idea what I'm going to ask them, and they let me know, well, does it hold water or not? And of course, the more important thing is the discussion that follows, right? Chip Shots is my shorter form questions, and they are professional, but still a little bit more personal in nature. And I rotate in about 5 or 6 of them. And I always ask the same first two questions, the book question and the leader question. And these are some of the most thoughtful answers I get all episode. So it's just been a wonderful year. I thought it was much easier to break these up for you into kind of mid-year, and I'll do another one at the end of the year for the mid, from July on. Okay, so we're going to start with the best of Does It Hold Water. We're doing the top 5 for each. So first, the top 5 Does It Hold Water, followed by the top 5 Chip Shots. Here we go. All right, everyone. Does It Hold Water? Top 5 for the year so far, mid-year. Now, Does It Hold Water is my favorite segment, as I like to say. And we're going to start with a great response from Lori Fainer. I asked her about feedback. She is an HR consultant, a leadership consultant, and does a wonderful job here talking about whether or not people really, really want feedback. Here's a listen. This comes from Kuzes and Posner, who actually I learned leadership from in business school. And they say most leaders don't really want honest feedback, don't ask for it, and don't get much of it unless it's forced on them. Does the defense case hold water?
That's a good one. I would say in the cultures that we are in today, people are nervous. They're nervous about asking for feedback. They aren't always sure what the other person is going to say on the other side. So they don't do it unless they're told they have to do it. So I think that we all say we want feedback and we want to know, and our door is always open. But you know what? I'm not sure those are always the behaviors that our teams feel. And having positional power means not a lot of people are going to be honest with you. So, I want to say differently. I want to say yes, we always want to know. But I think we've constructed environments where it makes it really tough to be able to want to unpack it. And, when I think about that elephant and rider framework, it's like feedback means everybody's elephant starts to go out of control. And unless you've trained that rider, it's really hard to sit there and say, yes, please give me some feedback. But it's, I actually think it's a gift, and I truly mean that. But it's hard for leaders to take, for sure.
Next up, number 4, Jessica Milheiser. Jessica is an operations and client experience consultant, and is very grounded in operations, structure, and documentation. So I threw a bit of a curveball here and asked her what she thinks of kind of not having some structure sometimes. Check it out. You ready, Jessica?
I sure am.
I like to combine a couple of worlds here. So we're going to combine your hospitality world. So the quote comes from a book, The Heart of Hospitality. And given what you just told us about documentation and how important that is, this I felt was a very interesting one. And it is, the things that matter can't be scripted.
Ooh. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like to an extent, definitely. And kind of coming back to what I said earlier, the structure that you create, and that can include documentation, obviously, that's your framework. That's your foundation, which then allows you the capacity and the freedom and the creativity to enhance experiences, to create more magical moments. So I think it does hold water, because I don't ever want people to feel like structure boxes them in. I actually want them to feel like structure gives them the freedom they deserve and desire to live their best life, grow their best business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And no, brilliant. And do what they do best. It goes into what we just said, that living in the zone is each. Now, this is I think the guy whose quote this is was the founder of the Four Seasons. So
Mm,
restaurants are, it's a little different. Depends. An accounting firm or a tax firm is a lot different than a
totally.
restaurant. And so you're trying to create those experiences at restaurants. And there's been a lot of talk on this show recently about the different books, Unreasonable Hospitality, all that kind of
Yep.
stuff lately. And I just thought this fit perfectly for you, because you do have to document things, but that gives you the structure to create those moments. Because without the structure, you're not going to create wow moments. You're going to create chaos, and
Yes,
there ain't no wow moments coming in your way.
you're going to be too busy in the day to day, in the actual operations, in the chaos, in putting out fires. If you don't have that structure in place,
Mm-hmm.
that's what that does for you. But if you do have that structure, it eliminates all of that chaos.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, because it says the things that matter. Well, lots of things matter. I think everything you're doing is pretty much going to matter, but the spirit of it is brilliant. But I think we covered that well.
Would you mind repeating it one more time?
The things that matter can't be scripted.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, no,
I'm a
it's good.
fan.
Yeah, no, I thought that would be a good one for you, and it sure was. Awesome.
Thank you.
Next up, number 3, Chris Woters, CX consultant from Belgium. He's been on the show twice. This is from his second visit. And he is a CX consultant extraordinaire. And I asked him about empathy, often overused and misunderstood. Let's see what he says about it. And we talk about empathy all the time in CX. And I think I'm asking you this because a lot of people are kind of full of it when they talk about empathy. And he says empathy is not agreeing with someone, it's understanding where they're coming from, but understanding doesn't mean you don't hold them accountable.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah. So what Simon is trying to say, and I agree completely. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in the book, for that matter. But if you understand where someone is coming from, it doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with them, but you feel, let's say, what they're going through, and there is two ways of feeling, and there's two ways of being empathic, let's say. The first one, it comes all natural. Most people have a um, a possibility, let's say, to feel what the other feels, to a large or to a lesser extent. There are, however, people that do not have this ability to feel what the other feels. I'm one of them, for that matter. But I've replaced it with cognitive empathy. So I recognize what somebody is trying to say or do, or why he or she behaves in a certain way, and I recognize and I process it consciously, what this person must be going through. So that's conscious empathy.
Mm.
So once you know what the other one feels, what the other one goes through, you can understand that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree with what they do, what they say, or what their opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a form of respect, let's say. I hear what you say. I can understand you. I don't necessarily agree. I would probably do this differently, but I can understand why you're doing it. You see?
Yeah.
The problem really is with empathy, and I talk about that in the book as well. It's been so overpushed in today's society.
Yeah.
Everything has to be empathy. It's empathy to the death. And
Yeah.
and people get empathy training for crying out loud. Look, it's really, really simple. Try to feel what the other one is feeling. If you're incapable of doing that, like me, get training to be cognitive empathic, and see what's happening in people's lives, etc. And go through that in a logical pattern.
Yeah.
Then you get it. That's all the training you need.
Yeah, no, I know. I think it's overdone, and I think
Yeah.
it's close to nearly impossible to be truly empathetic to somebody on the phone that you're in a call center. Like, and we use it just it's too much. I get the point and the principle of it, but I think it's overdone dramatically, and that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to bring it up here because it's
Well,
important.
and
but it's right. Go ahead.
and in being empathic, like for example on the phone, it doesn't mean that you have to allow people to walk over you.
Yeah.
You can stand your ground. You can talk back, as long as it's respectful. And I think that's also what Simon is talking about. It's holding people accountable for their actions, for their visions, for their ways of doing. You can be empathic about it. You can understand. You see where they're coming from. You understand why they do it. You don't necessarily agree, and you can hold them accountable. You can tell them. You can give feedback, saying, "Look, I don't agree. I see this differently." It's also a form of holding people accountable.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
it's a very interesting topic, and and the empathy thing. I think most people were way off the mark with it, and that's why I thought it was important to bring it up here today. So great job with that one. Okay, coming in at number 2 is the amazing Sid Meadows. Sid was a great guest, and he's a podcast host, so he certainly knows how to keep us all entertained. But he was chock full of just wisdom the whole entire episode. And then I thought of a very interesting question to ask him for Does It Hold Water about somebody famous and whether or not they're a good person to model as a business mentor, so to speak. And this was a great exchange. This is what I think Does It Hold Water is all about. I just love this back and forth, and it was an interesting concept. And that's what I designed it to do, and it worked. So here it is. The defense attorney is a big Swiftie. And the defense attorney has built its case around this idea that you can learn valuable business lessons from Taylor Swift. Does the defense case hold water?
100% it does. So it's some of the greatest lessons in life, especially in business, come from the least expected places. And Taylor Swift, whether you agree with her on the political side, agree with her music, it doesn't matter, right? But when you look at the core of what she has built and what she has done, there are so many lessons there for leaders. Because guess what? She doesn't just have fans. She has raving fans that are going to buy whatever she is selling, whenever she is selling it. And there's a lot of lessons from that. And I listened to a podcast that talked about this, and there is a book somewhere over here on my shelf about business lessons. I can't remember who wrote it, but about business lessons you can learn from Taylor Swift. And there are a lot of them because she is a brilliant businesswoman. So we talk about buying whatever her fans they're raving, and they will buy whatever she's selling. The other lesson you can learn from her is how she takes care of her people. Watch how she takes care of her people. She gave every member of the Eras tour that traveled the world with her a 6-figure bonus at Christmas time.
Wow.
She takes care of her people. Now, she's got the revenue in order to give 6-figure bonuses. You don't have to have the revenue to give a 6-figure bonus to take care of your people. Like, how can you take care of your people? So those are 2 off the top of my head that she does that I think are lessons at any business, and there's more.
All right. Coming in at number 1 for Does It Hold Water is the amazing Dana Vaughn. Dana is a customer success manager. She was so much fun and so personal. It's like Dan and I felt like I felt like I've known her for like 10 years after talking to her a couple of times. That's how engaging she is and how kind. And so it was around the holidays when we recorded, and I asked her what about the difference between joy and happiness, and she took this answer and knocked it out of the park. What a wonderful answer and a wonderful way to think of the world and put everything in perspective. Here it is. Joy and happiness, the same thing. Does the defense case hold water?
No. And here's why. You ready for this, Gary?
Ready.
Joy is the things that we find every day in our life that we kind of sometimes we get dealt different circumstances, like we get laid off, or we don't get that promotion, or we can't find that job where we're making exactly what we think we should. But somehow in the midst of all of that, we still go and we create things like this fantastic show that we're on right now. Rebels of Sass, which I won't throw out the stuff too much, but stuff like that, right? I mean, we find joy in things that we have very little control over. And I think we find that joy. What's different between that and happiness is something that we think in our mind is an ideal. We want to make $500,000 a year. And in order to do that, we need to go do this, this, and this, and this, and everything needs to work out just like this. I think happiness is this illusion that we're all chasing. And I think joy is the thing that we find in the simple things that just sort of happen to us.
All right. So that was the best that does it hold water. The amazing Sid Meadows, Dana Vaughn, Chris Woders, Jessica Milheiser, and of course, Lori Fainer led it off that segment. Great job, all. Let's go to Chip Shots, see if anybody made it on there twice. All right, everybody, let's move to Chip Shots. These are the best 5 answers from Chip Shots, which are my shorter form questions. Now, we always ask the book question, and I love the book question. It's a great book list we've got going if you've been listening. I've read some of these books, and they're wonderful recommendations. We are going to start with Alex Grant and his response to the book question. And it's pretty interesting because Alex was very animated. He's a great guest, so full of energy, amazing. So it was so good, I kept rolling. So it turned into our longest episode of the year. And yes, it actually, I look back, did set the record for longest episode ever. So you'll love the book he suggested. Check this out. What is one book, Alex, that has significantly influenced you personally or professionally? All right, he's going right to the shelf.
Smart Brevity. Smart Brevity. Have you ever read it, Gary?
No.
Smart Brevity basically says none of us are as interesting as we think we are. Take your 6-sentence email and make it 2. Take your 300-character text and make it 50. Everybody needs to tighten up because in a world where attention spans have never been more manipulated, think about social media, to have 0.08 seconds of attention, nobody's reading your paragraph email where you could just get to it, wrap it up. Smart Brevity, I highly recommend it. It changed the way I email, communicate, not just professionally, personally. Sometimes I send too long a text to my friends. I'm like, that's why they didn't make it to the place. I was so long-winded they didn't even find the address in it. We're all saying too much.
And who's the author on that?
Jim Vandelheis, Mike Allen, and Roy Schwartz.
Nice.
I will tell you is that the book reads just like the title. It is brief. You can rip through it in like a day and a half, giving it like 3 hours. And the biggest glaring thing when I read it is I was the opposite. And I remember first reading it and going, oh my gosh, that's me. I was the example every time where I was like, oh my God, I need to shut up. No one's listening.
Yeah. In a lot of times that happens to me as well, but it's also the reason I do guest episode podcasts because I fully recognize that I am not the most interesting person in the world, so I have interesting guests like you on.
See,
much easier that way.
Was I brief enough today? We'll find out later.
I don't. This one's running long, but it's great. And I was just thinking the same thing. I'm going brevity. This one's actually gonna be a long episode, but what the hell? That's
an irony for you. Your longest episode of the year, and the guy recommends Smart Brevity.
Brevity.
Feedback to myself.
I don't know if you could top Chris Woders. We had Chris on twice. It's been over an hour both times because he's so fascinating. A CX consultant from Belgium. Great stuff. All right. One of the questions I asked, rarely, but I have asked it a few times, is the risk question. I ask Tell us about a risk you took or a risk that paid off. And a lot of people saying start my own business, but it's the conversation after that really matters. But John Samponia absolutely knocked it out of the park here. I love his perspective on risk and taking a risk because I did just that. And I was thinking of taking this risk by joining School Lee Mitchell and investing in a franchise as he was giving me this answer. And he helped me make up my mind. So here it is, number 4, John Samponia. I'm going to ask the final question is the risk question. What is one professional risk that really paid off for you that you took?
Starting a business. And there's a difference between a risk and a terrible idea. And I learned what that was early on. I remember when I was 26 and we were considering doing this, I didn't have a family. I had a small apartment and, not many responsibilities. I had a good job. I had a really good job. But I was confident that if I started a business and quit this job, that if I failed, I'd be able to get another job. I was very confident in that. Mm-hmm. So the risk was quitting my job to start something. And I guess the risk would be finding another job and an ego bruise that it didn't work out. Right. Mm. I would say that when you understand what failure looks like and you are okay with it, it's a good risk. You should take it. But a bad idea is when you don't understand the implications of your failure, meaning like you might fail and bad things will happen that you don't even know about. It could be so bad that you don't even grasp so like if you don't really know what you're doing and you're just like, let's risk it. Maybe don't do that. So try and talk yourself through what failure looks like. It's a helpful exercise, regardless of whether or not it's a really stupid idea. Talk yourself through it and figure out like what the downside looks like. And if you're cool with it, it's a good risk. If you don't really know, then maybe do more work before you jump into that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's fabulous. All right, everyone. It is summertime. I hope you're enjoying a vacation or you're looking forward to your vacation. And if you're thinking about travel or booking your next travel, well, here's Allie Raymer, a travel advisor extraordinaire. And I asked her, at the end of Chip Shot, sometimes I call an audible, as I say, if somebody has something interesting in their background. And I asked her for an underrated travel destination. And she gave me a surprise answer, and this was great. She was just a great guest. So nice, so fun. This is really cool. All right, we got time for one more, and we're going to call an audible here. We're not going to go with one of my questions. Yeah, we've got to ask. Now, we already talked about it with the river cruises, but your final question is, what are the most underrated travel destinations you think everybody should consider?
Okay, I love this. I could literally answer so many things, but I settled on this one, so we're going to go with it. Yeah. I'm going to say Croatia. I feel like Croatia, it has like 3,500 miles of coastline. Poor Slovenia did not get any in that whole situation, but Croatia did, and they are thriving. And I feel like it is the cousin to Italy. So if you've been to Italy or Italy is attractive to you, I feel like it's a nice little cousin. You've got the food, you've got the wine, you've got the culture, you've got the history, tons of UNESCO World Heritage sites, cool national park, waterfalls. I mean, it literally has everything. You can go by catamaran from city to city. I don't know. I feel like it's like the perfect destination, and it usually comes in pretty under budget considering other European destinations. So
wow,
there's my pitch.
Croatia. I did not see that coming. Good for you,
Yay!
Croatia.
Okay, good.
Oh no, I would have not. Never. That's absolutely awesome. Fascinating.
Yay.
All right, coming in at number 2, Katie Stabler, CX consultant based in the UK. She's a wonderful guest. She has a wonderful book, CXism, and she's a great speaker. She's on a bunch of podcasts, but she has her own podcast. She speaks all over the place. She also does award ceremonies, so she puts herself out there a lot. And I asked her the risk question, and I thought her answer was completely unexpected and very personal and fascinating. So here it is. What is one professional risk that you took that really paid off?
Oh, I mean, my mind's going straight to the book, but I feel like I've already said that. I mean, the book was a risk because, again, it's putting, I think so, because it's putting your ideology and your way of doing things out there for people to really scrutinize. And if it went, Pete Tong, then it could have been really detrimental for the way that I was seen in the industry. So I think that was a risk. I also think just standing on a stage, every time I stand on a stage and talk and share, and whilst I love it and whilst I care about the topic I talk about very much, again, you obviously everyone has a different story to tell, so I think it's always a risk standing up there and putting yourself out there publicly.
Okay, the number one Chip Shots answer comes from, yes, we do have a guest that's shown up twice. It is the amazing Sid Meadows, and he comes in number one at Chip Shots. And I can't think of a better way to end this episode than this answer from Sid. And I ask all the time, what's one question you ask clients that never fails to deliver? And I'm thinking of something like, what's on your agenda for next quarter? What are you working on in terms of profitability and whatever? And please listen to what he said, because it puts everything we do here in the proper perspective. Great answer from a great guy. Thank you, Sid Meadows. Here it is. What's one question you always ask customers or clients that never fails to reveal something new?
Oh, this is a really good question. So, I think I could come up with maybe a couple of answers to this, but the one that I think reveals a lot to me, it's a really simple question. What are you grateful for today? So many people want to say, oh, I'm grateful for my family, my health. Oh, it's really pretty outside, the weather. Okay, that's great. That's very surface level. And I think the issue here is really understanding the power of gratitude and leaning into really understanding, what are you grateful for today? Because each and every day, we all have something to be grateful for. It can be something really simple, or it can be something really big. But we all have something to be grateful for. So my challenge to people when I ask that question, I kind of have rules around it. You can't generically say my family, my friends, my health. You have to be specific. So if you want to say you're grateful for your family, who in your family are you grateful for, and why are you grateful for them? If you're grateful for the weather, what is it about the weather that you're grateful for? You're grateful that it's sunny today because it's been raining and snowing for 6 weeks, and that dang Poxitani Phil said we're going to be in the cold for 6 more weeks or whatever, right? But we all have things to be grateful for. We just have to look inside. And when you really start to look inside, gratitude changes your mindset. It changes the trajectory of your day. You want to watch gratitude at work? Ask your staff in a staff meeting to share, if they're comfortable, what they're grateful for today. Give them the guidelines and watch the tone of that meeting shift. Gratitude is powerful. And so it's amazing to see the answers that I get and the facial reactions that I get to that. Like, I'm grateful for. Like, what do you mean? What am I grateful for? It's just such a powerful tool. So what are you grateful for today?
What a spectacular way to end it. Great answer by Sid. And I just want to wrap this up by saying I'm grateful for all of you for listening to Your Customer, Your Success, and for your comments, your encouragement, and making the show a success. We're heard in over 70 countries now. It is unfathomable to me that we're heard in 70 countries. Crazy stuff and wonderful stuff. So thank you, my listeners. And I'm also very grateful for my wonderful guests. I'm grateful for their time and their incredible generosity in sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their experience with all of you to make your work lives and your personal lives even a little bit better. So that's all for this episode of Your Customer, Your Success. This was a year-to-date first half of 2026 retrospective on the best answers to chip shots and does it hold water. And once again, thank you to my guest in order, and I'm going to read it so I don't miss anybody. Lori Fainer, Jessica Milheiser, Chris Woders, Sid Meadows, Dana Vaughn, Alex Grant, John Samponia, Allie Raymer, Katie Stabler, and Sid Meadows once again. Thank you all for listening or watching. If you're listening, don't forget there's a video on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget the audio is available on all major podcast platforms. Thank you once again. That's all for today, folks. Bye for now. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you found something insightful that will enhance your experiences and drive your success. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review and share your thoughts to help us improve the show. Don't forget to head on over to mariscxhub.com for more ways to connect with me and learn more about experience management. Until next time, I'm Gary Mara, working hard for your customer and your success.